9 in the postseason. Notre Dame, Connecticut tonight. They're shooting for a Big East championship. It's the Big East Championship, the 13th ranked Fighting Irish of Notre Dame and the top-ranked UConn Huskies. Connecticut advancing to this championship with a win over Miami in the semifinals, while Notre Dame took care of Georgetown to advance to tonight's championship. And welcome to Gamble Pavilion. I'm Beth Mowins along with Mimi Griffin. And Mimi, this UConn team has been the dominant force in women's college basketball for the last several years, working on another unbeaten season.
Beth, until somebody proves otherwise, they are definitely the team to beat as we move into the NCAA tournament.
Now, when we talk about unparalleled success for this Notre Dame club, how about the tandem of Beth Morgan and Katrina Gaither? Both could eclipse 2,000 points in their careers.
Coach McGraw has flat out said these two players have made the Notre Dame program. Beth Morgan is one of the best pure shooters in the game today, but Beth, don't just call her a shooter. She'll get very angry. She's a great defender and rebounder as well, a complete player. Katrina Gaither, on the other hand, was just this skinny little thing when she came to Notre Dame, but she's worked hard in the weight room, and now her combination of size, strength, and mobility makes her a big factor inside.
They'll be up against a Connecticut team now, Mimi, that's 29-0. Two reasons why are their National Players of the Year candidates.
And their top two scorers. Nikisha Sales is the second leading scorer, but she's also the great anticipator. And it's a good thing because the critical aspect of this Connecticut game is her defense leads to a lot of their offense. Kara Walters, on the other hand, is the best center in the game today. And at 6'7", her presence changes the complexion of the game. Because of Kara Walters inside, Nikisha Sales can be the great anticipator. And somebody like Amy Duran can score 22 points against Georgia because everybody's paying attention to Kara Walters.
All right, Connecticut, #1 in the country, and the 13th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish will chip it up for the Big East title when we return after this. Welcome back to Gamble Pavilion and Storrs Connecticut Championship Week continuing on ESPN2. It's the Big East final between Connecticut and Notre Dame. And time now for the Pert Plus starting lineups. First of all, for Coach Muffet McGraw and the Fighting Irish, Beth Morgan, Roseanne Bowman, and Katrina Gaither along the front line. Molly Pyrick, the two-guard, and Janine Augustin at the point. Muffet McGraw in her 10th season, the second in the Big East Conference. They were in the finals last year. They are back for an encore performance tonight. And the Pert Plus star lineups for Connecticut: Carla Berube, Nikisha Sales, and Carol Walters up front. Amy Duran and Rita Williams, the guards. Their head coach, Gino Auriemma, is not with us tonight. He is at home due to some personal matters we'll touch upon a little bit later. Chris Daly, the associate head coach, is the acting head coach, but she has been with Gino for 12 years now in the Husky program.
And Chris has been with Gino ever since he has been here, so they know each other very well. They know the system very well, so they don't even skip a beat.
And a lot of the fans and people we've talked to in the building want to send their best to Coach Auriemma. As we take a look at the history, Connecticut has won all 4 matchups. Coach Auriemma is at home in Philadelphia with his family. His father passed away a couple of days ago, and he should be returning to the team within the next couple of days. And we are underway in the Big East Championship. Notre Dame in blue, Huskies in white.
Beth, right from the top, Muffet McGraw told us that she wants the team to exhibit a little more patience offensively, really pass the ball around. But not to the other team.
No, taken away by Sales, which if the Huskies have their way, we'll see a lot of tonight.
One of the most impressive aspects of this Connecticut team is their offensive execution, the way they move the ball around the perimeter. Now, Notre Dame will be in this 2-3 zone for most, if not all, of the game. And Connecticut's going to do their best to attack it from the baseline.
Walters gives it right back to Sales for the first 2 of the game. Sales and Walters both Naismith finalists among the top 12 players in the country. This is Roseanne Bowman. She'll try from the foul line for 2.
That's a good sign for Notre Dame. They shot very well in the first 2 games of this Big East tournament, shooting over 50% from the floor each night.
They did meet once in the regular season, these two clubs. Connecticut a winner here in Storrs and tipped away by Gaither. This is Molly Pyrick now with the ball. Knocked Knocked out of bounds by Sales, and already maybe we're getting an idea of how important the ball handling will be for these Notre Dame guards tonight.
Absolutely. You're going to see both teams run. Connecticut probably more so than Notre Dame. Notre Dame is down a little bit in their ranks because of an injury situation, and they really only have 7 players, although they did dress their manager as well. So they've got three subs on the bench. One is a manager in disguise.
Gaither up over Walters, gets it to go. Oh, we're seeing the Irish take it right at the Huskies' interior.
And that's exactly what they should do. They really have nothing to lose here. There isn't anybody that thinks that Notre Dame is going to win this game, Beth, but Notre Dame thinks that they're going to win it, and they need to be aggressive, especially on the offensive end.
Knocked out of bounds by Morgan, and we'll take a quick look at Gaither on the offensive end.
In the first game, one of the things Gaither did was just try to shoot it right over Carol Walters too many times, Muffin McGraw told us. So she's going to try to go around Walters tonight.
Morgan looking inside for her partner down along the baseline. Gaither needs some help. Finally gets it out to Pyrick, who goes by Sales. Shot altered by Walters, kept alive by Notre Dame. Blocked by Kara.
And that's what makes Carol Walters so effective inside. At 6'7", she has really worked on her body control. So watch the way she's able to just jump straight up. She realized she has the height, doesn't have to lean into the player to get to that basketball.
Number 2 in the Big East history books in career blocks, and Beth Morgan drawing the foul on the penetration.
Beth Morgan used to be known as simply a three-point shooter, but we talked in the open about how she's really developed her complete game. One of the aspects offensively that we can watch for tonight is her shot off the dribble. She's worked hard at it, and she's become very proficient.
And as you advised me, I will not call her just a shooter tonight.
I'll tell on you.
Don't want to get in trouble.
You know they're taping this game. I'll tell on you.
Notre Dame, an outstanding free throw shooting team with Morgan leading the way.
Just watch the rotation, and Muffet McGraw, you can see on the bench. Watch the rotation on the ball with Beth Morgan when she shoots it. Just textbook form. Good back rotation, string music as it goes through, all the things you read about.
Morgan gets both. The Fighting Irish off to a good start. They're up 6-2. Connecticut was down to Miami early on in the semis before really going on a tear. And Berube with the putback.
Connecticut, a very good rebounding team, as evidenced by Berube's putback.
Steal by Williams. She's got the breakaway. And right now, the Huskies getting a lot of easy buckets.
You can't look where your pass is going. You're giving the defense an opportunity to adjust and anticipate.
Pyrick, another strip. Third steal of the game for Connecticut. Duran to Walters. Spinning around Gaither. Shot doesn't go. Katrina with the quick outlet. Janine Augustin has it knocked away by Sales.
Not a bad move by Augustin to really attack the basket. Even though the numbers weren't in her favor there, she at least was exploring the opportunities, which Notre Dame can't back down in any quarter here.
The only guard substitution checking in now for Notre Dame, Sheila McMillan, as Morgan misses on her jumper. Sales surveys the defense, lost her balance. And now Notre Dame has numbers, 3-on-2 Irish. Morgan for 3. Good.
Beth Morgan is so effective at stopping her body as she's moving forward and squaring herself to the basket, which is what a lot of players don't do, and that's why they're not as effective from the perimeter as Beth Morgan.
She was 0 for 6 three-pointers in their regular season meeting. She hits one early, and now a 3-second violation against Kara Walters. Third turnover for Coach Daly's club.
It's important to point out also that Connecticut had one of their worst shooting nights against Notre Dame. They shot only 39% from the floor, and they average over 50.
This is McMillan with the ball, known for her shooting skills. Augustin blocked by Walters, second swat of the game, and now 3-on-1 Huskies. Berube.
Connecticut is so effective in their transition game because they have 4 players on the floor that can start that break, and then they have Kara Walters coming down for the secondary break.
They get up and down the floor so quickly. Nearly stolen again, and the Huskies do come away with it. Duran. Augustin ripped it away from Berube, but Augustin was on the line. We've got a timeout on the floor, 15:30 to go in this first half. 9-8, Notre Dame with the early lead over number 1. Thanks for the warm welcome. We are happy to be here, and a reminder that ESPN2 has men's basketball action, the AT&T Big East first round tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Starting out with Syracuse and Notre Dame. 7:30, it's Miami and St. John's, and 9:30 tomorrow night, Pitt and Connecticut. The AT&T Big East first round tomorrow on ESPN2. And here's the defense leading to the offense, Mimi.
And we talked about Kara Walter's presence. She can get her hands on a lot of those passes, and this is the result in most cases. And they've got 4 players running the floor, very effectively filling the lanes. Their transition game is really stepped up a notch this year.
Walters, triple team, but gets the deuce. Kara's first basket, 10-9 Huskies. Bowman. Boy, Roseanne Bowman off to a good start. She's got 4.
And Bowman has been a real key to this Notre Dame team all year long, because when they key on Gaither and Morgan, it's Bowman who has stepped up inside.
Right now, the Huskies finding their way inside. All 10 of their points have been in the paint so far. Shea Ralph looking for 2 more, and she gets them.
There's no question when Shea Ralph gets her hands on the ball where she's going. So you should play off her and give her a little bit of room. Don't allow that penetration dribble.
Gaither up and under Walters, and quickly Connecticut the other way. 3-on-2. Sales doesn't get the bucket, but draws the foul on Beth Morgan. That will be the first on Morgan. And again, Kara Walters upsetting things defensively.
Beth, Katrina Gaither would be better served to try to take a longer step around Kara Walters to be able to get the clear layup. Kara Walters once again starts the offense by creating some good defense on the other end, and there's Nikisha Sales trying to finish.
Sales to shoot 2. Paige Sauer has entered the game for Connecticut. Sauer and Ralph, part of this heralded freshman class. Ralph may just be the top freshman in the country this year, and there is Paige Sauer at 6'5". And Nikisha Sales now with 3 in the game. There's 1 for 2. UConn by 2, 14.5 to go here in this first half of play.
Again, Muffet McGraw wants to see her team exhibit some patience, passing the ball around the perimeter, making the defense work a little bit.
Augustin on the drive, and how important is this maybe to keep Sales occupied defensively like Augustin is doing on this penetration?
Well, it's very important because we talked about Sales being the great anticipator, and Augustin is really doing a nice job of forcing the action offensively and making the defense adjust to what she's doing. Instead of being reactive to what the defense allows, she's being proactive and forcing them to adjust to her.
Augustin hits on the first free throw. And Janine gets 2. She has really picked up her play here heading into the postseason as well at the point. And we are tied at 13 as the Fighting Irish settle back into that 2-3.
Again, you're going to see Connecticut try to attack that zone from the baseline, because what happens, or from the outside, but what happens when you're on the baseline is it forces the defense to make a decision, like that with Shea Ralph as she gets the putback.
Ralph has 4. Rita Williams with her 3rd steal of the game. Ralph can't finish as it goes around and out.
Boy, they're letting them play, aren't they, Beth? I'll tell you, Notre Dame being far too careless in the half court with the basketball.
Morgan may have hurried that shot, doesn't go, but the Fighting Irish will keep it. Well, you always have to be aware of where Williams and Sales are. Sales is second all-time behind Jen Rosati in steals for the Huskies. As we take a look at the shooting, both pretty hot yesterday in the semis.
And Connecticut, normally a good shooting team, averaging 51% from the floor. Notre Dame not too shabby themselves, averaging 48%.
Last season, I believe they were 1-2 in the nation in field goal percentage. Pyrick sights up the 3, short. And Molly able to follow it up. Again, Williams gets a hand on it to deflect it to Sales. And then taken away by Augustin. She's got Bowman all alone in front. And Roseanne gets the deuce.
Oh, and the fans down that end wanted a traveling call. She may have had a half a step too many there.
Well, you can't overlook the quickness of Augustin either defensively. Walters working in the paint.
I called Carol Walters the best center in the game today. Two of the reasons, her footwork, Beth, she has just the ideal drop step down low, always keeps her pivot foot firm, and then she keeps the ball over her head so nobody can touch it.
No one else can get up to, what, about 9.5 feet probably when she's holding it high.
You get on my shoulders, you might be able to contest it.
Bowman, and Roseanne draws the foul on Paige Sauer. That will be first on the freshman from Midwest City, Oklahoma. Sauer averaging double figures in her last 3 games,
Connecticut foul number 41,
including 11 in the semis against Miami.
We talked about Carol Walters' footwork. Watch as she receives, and she goes nice drop step towards the baseline, keeps the ball above her head. Gaithers is 6'3". No way can she contest that shot if the ball is over Carol Walters' head at 6'7".
Roseanne Bowman, the senior from Greensburg, Indiana, to the line, averaging 9 a game. She's already got 6 here in the early going, including a perfect 3 for 3 from the floor.
And that's a function of how much attention Gaither and Morgan is receiving defensively from the Connecticut team.
Bowman, a 60% free throw shooter on the season. Gets 1 of 2, and Sauer with the defensive board. Huskies by 1. Ralph tries baseline. Berube leaning into McMillan, no go. Duran with the putback.
Amy Duran has really come on this year as a scorer for this Connecticut team. Definitely an outside shooter, but also works effectively underneath.
The kickback to Augustin. Misses on the 3. Kept alive again by Bowman.
Notre Dame hasn't really gotten into any kind of offensive rhythm yet. One of the reasons is they're doing a great job defensively on Gaither, and she's not able to even get her hands on the ball.
No problems, though, for the Husky transition game. Berube has 6, all on layups, and a 20-second timeout taken by Muffet McGraw.
In their first game of the season, Beth, in the first half, they weren't shooting the ball well. Connecticut was not, and it was their transition game that woke them up. Look at the defense of Paige Sauer, the freshman, on Gaither, the senior, and watch the way this Connecticut team finishes. We talked about 4 players running the floor. You can have 1, 2, 3, or 4 position as the one who ends up with the ball at the end. They all run the floor very, very well.
And it's a pair of 7s right now for Connecticut. 7 steals, and they've also created 7 turnovers.
Extra special people nearby. I wonder if they mean you, Beth. I know they do.
20% the difference in shooting for these two right now. Beth Morgan.
Now that's a good series for Notre Dame because Morgan, instead of waiting for the ball on the outside, made the interior cut and was able to get a clear shot.
Morgan has 5. The lead 3 for top-ranked Connecticut.
Connecticut wants, or Notre Dame rather, wants to try to force Connecticut to beat them from the outside and prevent them from getting the easy putbacks like Shea Ralph just did.
Got to do a little better job on the defensive glass. Shea Ralph now has 6. She leads the way for Connecticut. Bowman working the baseline, tries to go lefty.
That was the right move. She just needed another half a step.
Morgan goes down hard after the shot, no whistle. UConn will run. Williams to Berube, and the senior wisely pulls it back out.
Connecticut exhibiting already the fact that they are as effective in half court as they are with their transition game. It doesn't matter what you force them into, they can play.
Right now, Connecticut has the lead with 10:17 to go in the first half. 23-18 in the Big East Championship. 23-18 UConn here here in the Big East, and we'll be heading out to the Midwest following this game for the Mid-Continent Conference Championship. Western Illinois and Valparaiso, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, as championship week continues on ESPN2.
Beth, Notre Dame has the right idea, trying to make Connecticut beat them from the outside, but heck, you got to get the rebounds. If you do a good job defensively, don't give them the easy shot like Shea Ralph just took. Connecticut is #1 in the nation in rebounding margin. They're averaging 45 rebounds to their opponent's 13. They're obviously a very good rebounding team.
You're right. I mean, the initial defensive stand has been there for Notre Dame, but the Huskies have 8 second chance points, and there's another layup for Walters.
That triangle that Connecticut creates on the side of that defense is almost impossible to defend, because they pass the ball to the short corner, and then you've got to determine whether you're going to stay with Carol Walters or go out and defend the short corner.
Hyrick, Morgan, McMillan, Gaither, and Bowman right now for Notre Dame. This is McMillan. Runner doesn't go. Walters with the rebound. Sales, Berube, Duran, and Ralph also with her in white.
In their last meeting, Connecticut got 41 defensive boards, which means Notre Dame wasn't getting very many putbacks themselves in the first time around.
Again, Ralph crashing from the weak side. Ties it up. Connecticut will keep it.
Shea Ralph does a real nice job of just attacking offensively, whether it's with or without the ball. And you can see her position is ideal for those offensive boards.
Berube hits for 3. Carla with 9 points in the first half. Gaither misses on the shot, gets her own rebound, though, to keep it alive. Katrina with the pretty spin. Shot won't go, and the foul will be on Bowman.
Notre Dame still very much out of sorts offensively, really not passing the ball around effectively. Early on, it was all those steals by Connecticut that make you second-guess your passes. You can see the concern on Muffet McGraw's face. They've got to get back into their comfort zone. They played very comfortable, very at ease last night in their semifinal matchup.
Well, I think Muffet may sense this is a critical juncture right now. They cannot get too far out of touch. Sales, the runner. Huskies by a dozen. It's a 9-0 UConn run in the last 2 minutes.
Amy Duran doing a very effective job defensively on Beth Morgan. She's not even able to get her hands on the ball. And then inside, Carol Walters doing the same thing against Gaither.
Bowman looking for some help. Shot blocked by Sales. Nikisha has Berube running with her.
Oh, mama, do they fill those lanes.
You can put that one in the textbook. 11 for Berube. It's an 11-0 Husky run, and the lead has ballooned to 14. Top-ranked Connecticut on top of Notre Dame by 14. 8:25 to go in the first half of this Big East Championship. And a reminder, the AT&T Big East.
Beth, we talked about the mobility of Katrina Gaither as we see another steal by Connecticut.
Swiped right back by Augustin. Chance for the Irish to pick up a bucket. Morgan hits the tough shot on the baseline.
Smart move by Beth Morgan, because she realized that she had a mismatch in height there with Rita Williams only at 5'7" guarding her.
Connecticut works it into Walters. Williams thought about getting it back inside.
And the important thing right now for Notre Dame is just to get themselves back into this game mentally. Don't let this run by Connecticut get them down. They can chip away at it, but it has to start with defense, and that was a good series for them.
Good box out there for the Fighting Irish.
Now, we talked about the mobility, and this is what the point I wanted to make is that Gaither, up to this point, has not been mobile. She's been standing down below block trying to get the ball and shoot over Carol Walters. They need to have her make some cuts to the middle post area.
Walters comes right back to answer for 2. Walters has 8. Sales with the assist, her 4th of the game. She's also got 4 steals.
Now, you see how the guards are sloughing in as well. So what happens is Carol Walters gets a lot of help on Gaither from the guards out top, and that's where they bring their help, is from the top down instead of from another post player.
Morgan on the run. Shot is short. Gaither takes it away from Berube and puts it back.
That's a dose of Connecticut's own medicine. Connecticut really attacks you right when you think you've got the ball in control. That's when they'll use those quick hands and snap at the ball.
Sheila McMillan checked in for just a couple of minutes. When does fatigue possibly set in for this Notre Dame bunch? They will go with the same 5 throughout this first half.
Well, we talked about how they only really have 7 players. And fatigue's going to be a factor. Foul trouble is a factor. That's why this Notre Dame team likes to run, but you can't afford to run too much when you don't go very deep on the bench.
Julie Henderson is checked at number 32 as we see Pyrick trying to shake off an injury. And how about the work of Carol Walters and company in the paint? 28-12.
Obviously dominant right now. Notre Dame's got to find an answer to that. Don't let her get the ball. Put more pressure on the guard so that the entry pass isn't so easy.
Pyrick leaves to get her leg attended to. Sheila McMillan now on the floor for Notre Dame. She's got the basketball on the baseline.
There's no way Notre Dame can handle another injury, so let's hope that Molly Pyrick is okay.
Morgan misses the open 3. Shea Ralph tries to cut through the defense and draws the foul on Augustin. And for Muffet McGraw, her bench not very long.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, 26-5, they've had an incredible run this year with limited resources because they've dealt with injuries all year long. And on the bench, you can see their manager in disguise. Not that one. There you go. Christy Grady, who actually scored her first 2 points, put on the uniform for the first time yesterday in her game against Georgetown, scored 2 points near the end of the game. Crowd went wild.
Ralph now with 7 points to go along with 5 rebounds. That other player you saw on the bench was Kari Hutchinson with a hand injury. They hope to have her back for the NCAA tournament as Pirate looks like they're working on that left knee. Morgan misses again on the 3 attempt. Walters,
great
the rebound.
Great position. Carol Walters does not rely on her height alone.
And then taken right back by the Irish. Under 6 to go, first half. Connecticut by 12. And another steal. This one, Rita Williams. Her 4th of this first half. She and Sales combining for 8. Nikisha misses the chippy. And a couple of sloppy possessions for both clubs here in the last minute.
I'll tell you, I would just keep the ball away from Nikisha Sales' side of the floor. I mean, just stay away from her.
Morgan gets the basket and will go to the line. Boy, she has had to work so hard, and that time it pays off.
Well, for a while they had Amy Duran at 5'11", who matches up well in height with her. Now, Beth Morgan does work real hard. She's had a lot of attention ever since she set foot on the campus of Notre Dame, but she knows how to free herself. And then look at the way she squares herself. Good jump stop there, good square. Make sure her shoulders are turned, facing the basket before her release. That's why she shoots the way she does.
Ralph with the foul. Morgan now into double digits. She has scored in double figures in 109 of 119 games in her career.
Hey, Beth, think how many points you'd score if you ever squared your shoulders like that.
It's a scary thought.
I might have gotten into double digits.
Fighting Irish now down 9. Paige Sauer.
See, now that entry pass, how does that go from the top down to the bottom? There is no way that that pass should go unaltered from the top of the key. They don't even have a good angle there. And the Notre Dame defense has got to utilize their hands more and move their feet a little bit, anticipate. There's no way that that entry pass should come from the top and go to the low post.
Gaither gets charged with the foul, the first on the senior from Mount Vernon, and now Paige Sauer to the line.
Paige Sauer has really been effective for Connecticut this year because what she allows is Carol Walters to get a breather most times, and also gives her some very strong competition in practice.
She's doubled her scoring average here in the Big East tournament, up to 10 or 11 a game, excuse me. Down to 5 to go here in this first half. Morgan working the baseline. Sauer with the block. Shea Ralph. And then Henderson with the rebound, and the Irish the quick counter-attack. Augustin blocked by Walters, her 3rd.
She's just toying with them now. Now remember that Augustin is 5'4", trying to shoot against 6'7".
She seemed to set that up, just lying in wait until the shot went up. And the whistle from Decanter calling a foul on Henderson. That will be the first on Julie. On consecutive possessions, Sauer with a block and then Walters with a block. Let's take a look at the freshman in action.
Paige Sauer certainly learning a lot from Kara Walters. As you can see, the body control, she actually leaned away from the player, yet still went straight up with her arm to be able to get that block.
Sauer misses on the shot. Good block out that time by the Fighting Irish. Fans thought Morgan was out of bounds when she tipped that one back into play. Evenly matched first half with the exception of a 2-minute spurt by Connecticut. They went on an 11-0 run to open up the lead.
See, Katrina Gaither had the shot at the foul line. She can shoot a foul shot. She shoots 68% from that line. She might as well take it and draw Kara Walters out.
Sauer called for the walk along the baseline, and we will take a break with just under 4 to go in the first half. Connecticut leading Notre Dame by 10. 37-27, Connecticut leading Notre Dame, 3:59 to go in the first half. We're at Gamble Pavilion in Storrs, Connecticut. And here's Beth Morgan on the baseline.
And look at the body control by Paige Sauer, the freshman, to go straight up. That takes an awful lot of presence of mind. Now look at Kara Walters just playing. I mean, the Augustin is 5'4". I mean, come on, dream on.
I don't think she even jumped on that one.
She didn't. Who
just
needs
held
to
her arm
jump?
out.
She's got a foot and 3 inches on it. Come on, Beth.
8 points, 3 rebounds, 3 rejections. Huskies also had 10 steals defensively. They've created 10 turnovers.
I don't think Notre Dame's going to be effective if Katrina Gaither just sits at the low block. Now, if they can shoot from the outside like that, maybe they can chip away at this lead. But Gaither has to be a factor, and to be a factor, she's got to move more offensively.
McMillan's 3 cuts the deficit to 7. And Sales fouled on the drive. Looks like they'll get Augustin.
Nikisha Sales and Shea Ralph, the 2 players on this team who can really create their own offense. They're such good penetrators, and with Shea Ralph in particular, she goes through the basket every time she gets her hands on the ball. As a matter of fact, she's been to the free throw line more times than anybody on the team, which is surprising when you've got Kara Walters getting banged up inside and Sales being the great penetrator that she is.
Sales hits on the first. Janine Augustin, by the way, picking up her 2nd foul. And Roseanne Bowman into the lineup, replacing Katrina Gaither for Notre Dame. Sales gets 1 of 2, now has 6 points.
Great defense by Connecticut, really putting a lot of pressure on the Notre Dame guards, not allowing them to set up offensively.
Bowman.
Now see, that's what I'm talking about with the cut. Now the shot wasn't there, but look at the putback, and she drew Kara Walters up to the top of the key, which brings her out of rebounding position.
Julie Henderson, and the deficit now down to 6. Huskies have led by as many as 14 here in the first half. Sauer for Williams. They swing it around to Duran. 3-pointer.
You get the feeling that Connecticut can do whatever they want offensively right now. They're moving the ball so effectively around that perimeter, and they're making the Notre Dame defense adjust, and then as soon as they adjust, they'll reverse it to the weak side and pop it from the outside.
Opens the lead back up to 9. Bowman.
Oh, how many times is that going to happen?
Sales sneaking in from behind to get the pick. And the spin move off the backboard for 2.
Highlight reel. Highlight reel. Let's start with the steal. We'll go all the way to the shot.
Unbelievable athleticism from Sales. Bowman misses on the baby hook. Putback drops.
You know, you talk about athleticism with Sales, but let's also credit her knowledge of the game and her presence of mind to go and create those steals where the player is just asleep offensively, and she just takes the ball literally out of her hand.
Sauer tough shot. Page now with 3. Huskies by 11, under 2 to play.
Important for Notre Dame at this point to really keep their composure. In the last minute and a half, they've got to get this lead or this deficit under double digits going into halftime.
Morgan coming off the screen from Henderson. Sauer, and she is fouled by Julie Henderson. That is her 2nd personal. Under a minute and a half to go in this first half, and a reminder that Coming up at halftime, we've got the Lee Jeans halftime report. We'll take a look at tournament time around the country. Also, the Arizona State controversy. And Dennis Rodman might just have to move into David Stern's doghouse. He's been suspended again.
What a surprise.
Coming up on the Lee Jeans halftime report in under a minute 30. Paige Sauer to the free throw line. She is 1 of 2 tonight. Katrina Gaither replacing Henderson. Henderson and Augustin with 2 fouls apiece here in this first half, and both of them are sitting down right now. The freshman now has 4.
Paige Sauer, a high school All-America. As a matter of fact, we saw her in that WBCA Nike All-America game after her senior year. An outstanding recruit for Gino Oriema.
Sauer has 5. She'll check out. Carla Berube back onto the floor. McMillan. Morgan trying to post up Duran. Instead, it's Gaither.
See, that's not going to work. And it was effective that time, but you can't, for the duration of the game, have Gaither at 6'3", trying to shoot over Walters every time.
Katrina now has 8 in the half. Coming up on a minute to play. Rita Williams with the drive. Sales keeps it alive.
This is an important defensive series for Notre Dame. They've got to disrupt. They've got to do what they can to disrupt Connecticut offensively. They're allowing Connecticut to just do whatever they want, and then they're reacting to it instead of being proactive once again and trying to create some offense from their defense.
First personal foul on Sheila McMillan. Notre Dame over the limit. So Carla Berube will go to the line.
I think Carla Berube is the key to this team. She's the kind of player that just steps up and provides the team what is needed for that game. She can be a scorer. She can be a rebounder. She's been the leader in those categories in several games. Or she can just be a role player when it's needed.
I think she has picked up to Mimi a lot of the Rosati intangibles.
Oh, yeah. She's not as vocal, but she is definitely as intense as Jen Rosati.
13-point UConn lead. Looking to free up Gaither on the block. Instead, it's McMillan behind the arc.
Good series for Notre Dame that time.
Morgan, the follow-away, no-go. Gaither, third opportunity, the block by Walters. Gaither again over the top, air ball, knocked out of bounds by Notre Dame.
It was still a very good series by Notre Dame. They got good looks at the basket, they took good shots, and they got 3 attempts at the basket, which hasn't happened all the first half.
I believe that's block number 4 for Walters, 5 in this first half for Connecticut.
Now, they cannot let them score. They can't allow that. And now they have an opportunity to perhaps go in with a little bit of momentum themselves.
Sales passed that one to the Notre Dame cymbals player in the pep band. 5 seconds in the half.
Providing that pressure to make them use up the clock.
Morgan catches air on the final shot of the first half of play. Connecticut led by as many as 14. Notre Dame made a run at it, but now UConn has opened things back up. 49-36. The score at the end of the first half, and please stay tuned here on ESPN2 for ESPN News. At the half of the Big East Championship week continuing on ESPN2. 49-36 Connecticut over Notre Dame, getting set to start the second half. And here are the Nike first half statistics.
And obviously Connecticut doing a much better job in shot selection and field goal percentage. The rebounds actually quite even, Beth, and we were surprised to see the number of offensive rebounds that Notre Dame had, 13 to 11 defensive rebounds. Notre Dame just needs to establish some sort of offensive flow from the beginning.
Roseanne Bowman, number 33, has it. Janine Augustin, Beth Morgan, Katrina Gaither, and Molly Pyrick to start out the second half for Notre Dame. Bowman.
Good ball movement, excuse me, Beth. Still a good series for Notre Dame. They've got to establish a little comfort zone offensively.
Carol Walters, Rita Williams, Nikisha Sales, Carla Berube, and Amy Duran. Same starting 5 for the Huskies. Walters. Duran blocked by Augustin. Berube, garbage bucket.
Still a good defensive series by Notre Dame. You're seeing some good things offensively and defensively. Berube happened to be at the right place at the right time for that putback.
1 minute into the second half of play. The winner wins the Big East Championship and gets the automatic bid into the NCAA tournament as Beth Morgan hits the jumper.
And that's where we talked about how improved she is with her shot off the dribble, being able to elude Amy Duran on that one.
She's got 14. She leads the way for Notre Dame. 13, check that, 15 for Berube, the top scorer for Connecticut.
Now this Notre Dame defense has to do something to disrupt Connecticut offensively. Don't let them have their way with passing the ball around the perimeter.
Bowman, one up on Walters, mismatch.
Too easy, Beth, too easy.
Kara now has 10.
You've got to have some help on Walters, and you do that by putting pressure on the person that's making that entry pass. Oh, Walters just shoved Gaither in the back.
That's the second time we've seen Notre Dame try that alley-oop. Hard to do with Walters inside.
I talked about how Gaither needs to move more, but as she tries to cut through the key, there's an awful lot of congestion in there, and you can see the lob to Morgan being a little too high for her to handle.
Gaither can't get the shot to go. Quickly the other way. Berube now with 17 points. And you'll hear the Berube call coming from the crowd. There it is.
What are you, the leader of the band?
The maestro knocked off of Morgan out of bounds.
I'll tell you, at some point, and Beth Morgan was pleading her case with Sally Bell, at some point, you may, when you're away from home, get a call for a foul there instead of just a clean strip.
Sales with another steal, 11 for the team. Walters,
good defense. Still good defense. That's the ability of Kara Walters to be able to score over people, but Bowman was in the right place there to defend her.
Check that. That would have been the turnover. Regardless, Connecticut gets the ball. They get two more. 57-38 at the timeout with 17:26 to go in the game.
Kara Walters has improved so much in her game, and one of the ways that she has improved is to be able to take a hit like that and still finish a shot. In the past, a hit like that, or if the fouls were not going her way, would have taken her out of the game. But this year, she has a much better mental aspect toward her game than she has in the past.
Walters, 12 points, 6 of 8 from the field, 4 rebounds, and 5 blocks.
Plus, I'll tell you the other thing, she has not fouled out all year long, and that used to be a problem with her, is foul trouble.
Morgan hands the jumper along the baseline. Morgan now with 16. Sales, she'll launch the 3. Rita Williams tips it and keeps it alive.
One of the things that 2-3 defense should give you is good rebounding position.
Look at Sales fighting down the tracking down the loose ball, and she ties it up with Molly Pyrick. Here is Nikisha Sales at work.
With this 2-3 setup, Beth, Notre Dame really should be able to track down all those rebounds, but look at the way Sales just hawks that ball. It's Sales that's on the floor first, not the Notre Dame players.
Whistle will go against the Fighting Irish. And Augustin.
Notre Dame foul number 3, Molly Pyrick.
Check that, Molly Pyrick.
Her first
personal.
First on the team.
And Sales loses the handle, goes out of bounds to acting head coach Chris Daly. That's 10 turnovers now for the Huskies.
In the first half, it was Gaither and Morgan taking more than 50% of the shots. They really need to have some offensive production from Pyrick from the outside and McMillan when she comes in to be able to open things up more inside.
Held ball, Notre Dame will keep it. Head coach Muffet McGraw closing in on 300 wins in her career, coming in tonight with 297. Morgan. And the call will be against Amy Duran with the body.
Amy Duran has actually done a very nice job defensively on Morgan, especially in that first half, preventing her from getting the ball in the position that she really likes it. Here, Beth Morgan working hard to at least get the foul, if not the shot as well. That's a senior play.
Well, credit Morgan, too. She scored only 8 points in the regular season meeting, and she has made the proper adjustments coming in tonight. She's got 16 as she steps to the free throw line.
Well, and the other thing, Beth, We talked about how many shots she took in that first half. She was 4 for 14, which isn't a good percentage, but Notre Dame has to have her shooting. It doesn't make any difference what her percentage is tonight. She's got to be productive, which means take her shot.
Morgan gets 1 of 2, 17 for the senior. 57-41 Huskies. Looking for their 30th win of the year. That would be 4 years in a row with 30-plus wins.
You take a look at what the seniors on this Connecticut team have done, and it's incredible. They established a new NCAA record for a number of victories over 4 years. They currently are at 128 victories, and there's one of the reasons right there. And only 7 losses back. 7 losses over 4 years. What an incredible tribute to the seniors on this team. And one of them right here, the big girl in the middle, Kara Walters. Now look at all the congestion and look at the hits that she takes, and she's still able to finish. That's maturity. That's strength. That's mobility.
And that's the third foul on Janine Augustin.
And that's not good.
Kara Walters doesn't finish up on the three-point play.
Substitution number 20, McMillan has replaced Molly Pyrick.
McMillan onto the floor for Notre Dame, replacing Pyrick as Augustin stays in with those fouls. Walters with the rebound. The quick outlet, Sales stripped by Augustin. Wow. Won't see that very often. She'll pull up and hit the J.
Very smart move by Janine Augustin. Saw that the defense wasn't coming to her, saw them dropping away. Just take that short jumper. Now Notre Dame has to start this with their defense.
And there it is, the takeaway by Bowman.
Boy, you have got to know where Sales is at all times on the floor. She's most dangerous when you have the ball and she's not guarding you.
Morgan to Augustin. And it's interesting, Mimi, they usually don't put her on the best defender. They put her on one of the weakest so she can roam as Gaither hits.
And that's an example of Gaither going around Kara Walters, which she hasn't done a lot of yet.
Shea Ralph now on the floor for UConn. Walters gets the basket and the foul again.
Boy, I'll tell you. Hands, the ability to put the ball on the floor, to keep her feet still and not get called for the travel, the ability to get hit once again, to go to the free throw line. Nice interior pass. This is what Connecticut does. They attack from the short corner. A lot of their entry passes go down the short corner. It forces the defense to decide, are we going to double on Walters or are we going to play one-on-one coverage? And when they play one-on-one, you can't stop Kara Walters. She's taller than you are.
Bowman picks up her second. She checks out. Walters dreams of one day having her own talk show, Late Night with Big Girl, but tonight it's prime time with Big Girl. She now has 17 points and 5 blocks to lead Connecticut. They are on top 62-45. Back to Gampo Pavilion after this. It's championship week on ESPN2. The Big East women's final here is 62-45 Connecticut over Notre Dame. The AT&T. How about that? The Huskies moving closer to that 30-win mark.
Bet there have been 6 teams since 1982 that have finished the regular season, which includes conference tournament, undefeated. Oral Roberts, an NAIA school, Texas, Louisiana Tech, Vermont twice, Connecticut 95. This could be the 7th time a school, it looks like it's going to be the 7th time a school has gone undefeated in regular season.
Twice in 3 years. A couple of the members of that squad a couple years ago are here. Joan Rosati and Rebecca Lobo in the house.
Both incognito so they don't get mobbed by the throngs of fans here.
3 opportunities for Notre Dame. Julie Henderson converts.
Good sign for Notre Dame by attacking the offensive boards, getting an easy putback.
4 for Henderson. 14 minutes coming up on that mark to go in the Big East Championship. Rita Williams draws the foul, and if it's on Augustin, that's big trouble.
Boy, that's critical because she really is the true point guard for that Notre Dame team. They don't have much choice from the bench, and you can see the nice weak side cut by Rita Williams. This Connecticut, I talked about it earlier, but their offensive execution is nearly flawless. They really keep going back to the same things, and you can know well what they're going to do. You can scout them as well as you want, but as long as they execute the way they do, they are very difficult to stop because of the weapons they have in each position.
Rita Williams misses on the first. Augustin has to sit down, and there's Pam Weber alongside Rebecca Lobo from that '95 national championship team. And
Jen Rosati. And Rebecca had the nose and glasses on earlier. No, I'm not kidding. Between the hat and the nose and glasses, nobody knew it.
So now it will be up to Molly Pyrick and Sheila McMillan to handle the ball with Augustin on the bench.
I get the opportunity to work with Rebecca in the studio come NCAA tournament time. Actually, this Sunday when we do the selection show. I'm really looking forward to that.
That's right. The selection show will be on ESPN on Sunday night.
Rebecca will add the player's perspective, which will be a really unique insight into the game.
We will find out where both of these teams will be headed in the NCAA tournament as Pyrick able to tie up Paige Sauer. Of course, one bid will be handed out this evening, and Muffet McGraw's former team trying to get a bid tomorrow night.
I knew you were
in the Patriot League final.
Hey, just because you happen to be a grad of Lafayette who had one of the biggest upsets of the season over Holy Cross in the semis. They were only 5-7 in the conference, and yet defeat the #1 and undefeated Holy Cross. In the conference, they were undefeated.
I figured I'd just bring it up and let you fill in the details as McMillan hits the three.
And as we're chatting away, Notre Dame's doing a good job defensively, again, to create their offense, cutting the deficit to only 12.
Was 19 early in the second half. Berube to Sauer.
Now, this is going to be a good sign of Connecticut's composure.
Oh, what a tough shot by Berube. 19, too shy of her season high. 4 short. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on the Berube call. 4 short of her career high. Morgan. Oh, another tough shot off glass. If we neglected to mention, Mimi, we're seeing why we've got 4 or 5 of the best players in the country on the floor right here in this Big East championship game.
And actually, we've got Sales and Walters on the bench, so we've got 2 of the best players on the floor right now. And Amy Duran trying to establish herself as one of the better players in the country. And there's Nikisha Sales leading the cheer from the bench.
Duran has a couple of threes, 8 points. Morgan double-teamed. Pyrick, Trey. No-go, Gaither able to keep it alive.
Boy, Notre Dame doing an outstanding job in recent possessions on offensive rebounding.
Shea Ralph that time able to bottle it up, and she is fouled.
I'll tell you, that may stop this Notre Dame momentum is the foul situation.
Sheila McMillan picks up number 2. We'll take a timeout. Connecticut by 15. 67-52 Connecticut over Notre Dame in the Big East Championship and the Championship Week Tour contend.
Congratulations to Angie Lee and her Iowa Hawkeyes after having what some would consider a disappointing year. They sure are coming on at the right time.
They finished up right where they were expected to. Shea Ralph on the drive doesn't get it to go, and Ralph fouled and gets the bucket.
As a freshman, that kind of aggressiveness is really invaluable. Shea Ralph has all the physical tools to be one of the great players, but that mental ability and that aggressiveness is what makes her outstanding. You mentioned earlier that she may be one of the best freshmen in the country, and I'd have to agree wholeheartedly with that. Look at the way she just continues to fight on the offensive board.
She completes the 3-point play. Second foul on Molly Pyrick, as Ralph now has 11. Let's continue our discussion about some upsets around the country. How about Auburn in the SEC as Pyrick turns it over?
Joe Ciampi plays his way in with his team into the NCAA tournament. He thought he'd have to win 2 games, but what the heck? He just thought, well, we'll win the whole thing.
Go ahead
that way,
and run
there's
the
no
table.
question.
St. Joe's shocking GW in the A10. Sales.
Can you say execution?
Execution. 10-2 Husky run over the last 2:20. Assist Walters. Gaither over the long arms of Walters, and Williams with the rebound. Walters again to Sales. And around and out. Nikisha misses the chippy. But Connecticut will keep it. Sales hears about that lost assist from Big Girl.
Number 33, Roseanne Bowman replaces Julie Henderson.
As Bowman comes back in for Notre Dame, replacing Henderson.
22, Amy Duran replacing Rita Williams.
It's Bowman, Gaither, Morgan, Pyrick, and McMillan on D. Duran is back on the floor for Connecticut, along with Sauer, Ralph, Walters, and Nikisha Sales.
Beth, Notre Dame still has time, obviously, to cut away at this 20-point deficit, but they have to start with their defense once again and prevent the easy shots.
That foul will be on Kara Walters. Her first, over the top. Smiled at the officials. She knew she committed that one.
Connecticut foul number 52, Kara Walters.
Notre Dame's going to have to get some run going, which means I think they're going to have to do it in a little bit of transition as well as half court. They certainly can't afford to trade baskets at this point. They've got to score with every possession, and especially score with the clock stopped if they get to the free throw line.
Gaither, again the shot altered by Walters. Paige Sauer has the rebound. Husky faithful voicing their approval of the defensive effort. Sauer. Rebound Bowman. UConn by 20, under 10 to play. Pyrick, nice hesitation. Can't finish on the layup.
Boy, they are getting some looks, and they're getting the right looks and doing the right things, but they just can't put the ball in the basket right now.
Well, Walters, a member of that all-Big East team, along with her teammate Nikisha Sales, a couple of the Fighting Irish, Gaither and Morgan, and then Holly Porter from Boston College, who had a terrific year for BC. Ralph, who was the Rookie of the Year, ties up Beth Morgan.
Connecticut able to double like that because their defense sloughs off of the perimeter players.
Ralph nearly knocked it away. Pyrick, the fadeaway is good. And for Pyrick, that is her first basket of the game.
Notre Dame not really able to throw on full court pressure at this point because of the lack of depth.
Carla Berube has returned for the Huskies. Gaither with the steal, McMillan on the run. She's got Ralph to beat. Ralph knocks it away.
What hands?
Shea gets the standing O.
Boy, I gotta tell you, Shea Ralph is going to be one of the most popular players. You thought that Rebecca Lobo and Jen Rosati and Jamel Elliott were popular. Shea Ralph in her 4 years here is really going to set a new trend.
Morgan will go to the line with a chance to complete the three-point play. Beth now has 21. And Amy Duran has picked up her third.
Number 22, Amy Duran.
So she's replaced by Rita Williams.
Checking back into the Connecticut lineup, Rita Williams.
Janina Gustin, starting point guard for Notre Dame, still on the sideline with 4 personals. She checked out about 5 minutes ago. Morgan now with 22.
And Morgan continuing, as you see Augustin on the sideline, Morgan continuing to do exactly what Notre Dame needs her to do, and that's be an offensive threat. At least get herself to the line, because she's an excellent free throw shooter.
Williams looking for a place to go.
Good defense.
Gaither has had a couple of tips here defensively in the last few possessions. Pyrick with the nice catch, sets up McMillan.
Good shot by McMillan. May not have gone in, but that's what they need.
Gaither. Good dump down again by McMillan to get it back to Katrina, but she can't finish. Gaither now 5 of 17, Mimi.
Excuse me, Beth. The problem is that Notre Dame only has 1 player on the boards then when Gaither takes that shot because the perimeter players aren't crashing. Look at Chris Daly's eyes bugging out over there. She's got something important to say, huh?
22nd timeout by Connecticut, called by their acting head coach, Chris Daly. And we've talked a little bit about most wins and winning percentage. And how about this over the last 4 years? Connecticut Stanford, Louisiana Tech, and Tennessee. That's pretty impressive company.
And what a tribute to the seniors once again. Connecticut also setting a trend for most victories in the 90s. Tennessee, the only team above them in that category with 236. Connecticut at 232, and you saw the banners, which were the fruits of their labor over the last few years.
National champs in 95. They are trying to nail down their 4th straight Big East title. Carla Berube ties her season high with 21.
There you go, Beth. I saw the little baton. They all followed you.
That was the dramatic pause right there. Making sure Carla got her due from the crowd.
Well, you can see the ball hitting off the front of the rim. That's fatigue right there.
Huskies come away with it. Walters.
Oh. Who wants to say that Carol Walters can't run the floor? Get out of here.
She was leading the break.
You go, girl.
Morgan spinning in traffic. Tough shot, and it drops. 24 now for Morgan.
Once again, the Notre Dame players, this is the time that you dig deep. And regardless of how tired you can feel that tomorrow when it's all over.
Walters hammered by Morgan. That's just the second on Beth. Good foul as Walters will have to earn him from the line. Morgan, 24 points to lead the club. She's got 5 rebounds.
Notre Dame foul number.
That was actually a smart foul, as you mentioned. It's only her second. She knew she had a foul to waste. If Carol Walters got an easy bucket on that possession, that stops Notre Dame's momentum and stops their run.
Walters, 17 points, 6 rebounds. There you see the block numbers as well.
Chap lips at this time of year, a problem?
They must be chomping at the bit, getting ready now for the NCAA tournament.
You know, so many people want to compare this team to the 95 team, but they're actually very different, and we can talk about that when we come back.
7:18 to play till we crown a Big East champion. Back after this. 76-59 Connecticut, and don't miss a minute of championship week on ESPN percentages. 58% for Connecticut above their average, while Notre Dame below their season average this evening.
And a lot of that 58% is due to the good shot selection that they are exhibiting.
Morgan loses it. Ralph takes it away. Williams pulls up at the elbow, and it comes down to Molly Pirate. See if they look to Gaither. Instead, it'll be Morgan with the pull-up. Comes up short. Gaither called for the foul over the back of Paige Sauer. Gaither only has 2 points here in the second half.
Morgan's shots have been hitting the front of that rim. We talked about it. You can see that she's just not getting a lot of lift from her legs right now. Obviously, she's put in a lot of minutes. And as Janine Augustin comes back in the game at the point position, Molly Pirate goes out. They're going to have to get another scoring option besides Morgan and Gaither. With Paige Sauer in there right now, they really ought to give the ball to Gaither and try to let her work down low against Sauer.
Sauer misses the front end, but the rebound comes back out to Paige. Shea Ralph.
Boy, Shea Ralph, how many putbacks has Shea Ralph had tonight? And we have that stat. I'd love to see it, because those have been big buckets, the kind that break you when you're trying to gather some momentum to your side of the court. And look at the way Shea Ralph just fights. She's not the tallest player in that bunch, and yet she positions herself. That's what's made Connecticut such a good rebounding team, is they have not relied on height. They have done it with positioning as well.
And that's a lot of strength from Shea Ralph to muscle that up and in. 13-14 now in the game.
Shea Ralph comes by that very naturally, with her mother being an All-American at the University of North Carolina, Marcia Mann. The first All-American for the Tar Heels.
And her mom up here for the Big East tournament to watch Shea play. Rita Williams with the pick. And Williams bumped on the way to the hoop. 5th steal for Rita. And that is all for Janine Augustin. She is just fouled out of the game.
And this is just, again, fatigue, Beth. Beth Morgan trying to gather herself to be able to pass the ball when she knew she didn't have the shot. Janine Augustin trying to disrupt Williams as she goes in for a layup and instead gets the foul called on her, and there goes your point guard.
So Augustin fouls out with 4 points and 3 assists. And she had just checked back into the game less than a minute ago.
And it's a shame because she's had an outstanding year this year, leading the team in assists. Her assist-to-turnover ratio is just about 2, which is outstanding for a point guard. And she's been averaging about 5.3 assists a game.
Pyrick comes back into the game. We've been talking a bit about the senior class for Connecticut, the senior class for Notre Dame, a special one as well, with not only Gaither and Morgan, but Augustin and Roseanne Bowman, as Williams connects on the first.
Well, that senior class for Notre Dame is a defining one, as we talked about. Morgan and Gaither really having put the Notre Dame program on the map. And Muffin McGraw, you lose sight of the fact that Notre Dame has also been dominant in the Big East. They've been 32-4 over the last 2 years in regular season. And before that, Muffin McGraw took her team to 5 regular season and 5 tournament rounds in the Midwestern Conference. So a great deal of success in 2 different conferences.
Well, they've got, as Morgan is fouled outside, they've only got 5 losses since they've joined the Big East, maybe, and 4 of them have been to Connecticut. But it's been a nice job that Muffin McGraw has done. This is the most wins the program has ever had, as they inch a bit closer to 30.
Here's a little fun fact for you, Beth, a little personal. Sure. Muffin McGraw's last game at Lehigh was what? The Patriot League Championship. And who was the point guard for Lafayette that year?
That might have been.
That would be one Beth Mowens, the big gun from the outside, Beth, the shooter, and the distributor Mowens.
I didn't shoot all that much, Mimi.
Oh, yeah. And that's not
You're
what Patricia
stretching the
told me.
truth.
And while we're at it, though, I'm going to put a plug in for one of my hometown teams, Lehigh, and Sue Troyan, and the job she's done in a few short years to get those players to really play tough and hard and believe in themselves, and there they are in the finals against Lafayette.
Morgan now with 26. As we've mentioned, that Patriot League bid will be the next one to go out tomorrow. And then coming up this weekend, the Big 12 Conference Championship. That tournament will be a doozy with 4 or 5 potential NCAA teams. The Sun Belt, which could involve Louisiana Tech, Mimi, and may determine who gets a top seed.
One of that 4th seed. Yeah, there's an awful lot happening this week, and there's been an incredible number of upsets. You talked about the Big Ten with Iowa winning that, the SEC with Auburn winning that. But let's talk about some of the other conferences as well. The Metro Atlantic. Now, St. Peter's was expected to win, and they did, but you had Niagara knocking off Fairfield in the first round. And then you had Loyola taking St. Peter's to an overtime game. Patty Coyle doing a great job of bringing that team on late in the year. They didn't have a 500 record in the conference and still took St. Peter's, who was undefeated, in the conference to an overtime game.
Sauer gets both. She now has 7. We should also mention Old Dominion, the Colonial League champ. They are in. Stanford from the Pac-10 is in. Eastern Kentucky out of the Ohio Valley. Marshall from the Southern Conference, and San Francisco from the West Coast Conference.
And there's an upset, too, because Portland was the #1 seed in that tournament, and San Francisco took that one from them in the final.
Morgan now with 28 points. Trying desperately to get the Fighting Irish back into this one. Their point guard, Janine Augustin, is fouled out of the game. Nikisha Sales, short on the 3. Now Morgan. She'll pull up over Rita Williams. Long rebound comes all the way back out to the Fighting Irish. This is Katrina Gaither trying to go around Walters. Henderson left alone and puts it back.
Gaither drew 3 players, which allowed Henderson to get that rebound uncontested.
82-65, under 4.5 to go. Sales, and Williams will be called for the walk. And the turnover gives it back to the Fighting Irish.
Connecticut substitutions, number 10.
Coming into the game, Carla Berube for Connecticut and Missy Rose. They replace Sales and Sauer, and Berube with 21 points and 6 rebounds in the game. She leads the way. Walters has 19, and Shea Ralph with 14 for Connecticut. Morgan's 28 and Gaither's 10, the only 2 players in double digits for the Fighting Irish.
Sheila McMillan with the ball right now is another great perimeter scorer for this Notre Dame team, but hasn't had much of a chance to show that in this evening's game.
Showing an addition to her game there with the nice handle and the drive. She'll go to the line.
Connecticut foul number 23, Rita Williams. Her second.
You know, you find that
personal
these
foul
players
on
out of
team
Indiana
6.
are just great fundamental shooters.
Shooting two for
Sheila
Notre Dame,
McMillan being
Sheila
another one. Watch
McMillan.
her form and watch the rotation on the ball. Well, that rotation wasn't that good.
You're
Come on,
always
Sheila.
jinxing them. The sophomore from Rochester, Indiana.
It's all about follow through.
24 points, her career high. She scored 20 in the loss to Wisconsin earlier this season. Does not get either. That was a couple the Irish could have used the clock stop. Missy Rose, the entry pass to Walters. Notre Dame comes down with it. Morgan. Doesn't get that one to drop. Morgan all over the floor right now for the Irish. Gaither. Offensive putback goes.
Beth, you've really got to give this Notre Dame team a lot of credit with depleted resources and players on the bench. You're playing 3 games back-to-back, and the fact that they're able to show what they've shown this evening and play this well against the #1 team in the nation is most impressive.
Gaither, by the way, now with her 13th double-double. She's got 12 points and 12 rebounds, meaning under 3 to go. And the foul will go against Notre Dame as Williams went crashing to the floor.
Chris Daly giving instructions to her point guard, telling her to use the clock, set up the offense, work the offense once again.
Julie Henderson, her 3rd personal foul.
Henderson picks up her 3rd as Williams will head to the line. A reminder once again, both of these clubs in all likelihood headed to the NCAA tournament. The selection show will be on ESPN on Sunday night.
And you know, Notre Dame has to get a strong look at being one of the top 16 seeds with a 26-5 record right now and the strength of schedule that they had all year long. They certainly will be considered.
And of course, don't forget, ESPN has the rights to the NCAA tournament, so all the action through the Final Four and the National Championship will be on ESPN as well. We'll be back for the final 3 minutes of the Big East Championship after this.
ESPN2's presentation of Championship Week is brought to you by Nike, who encourages
67 under 3 to play in the Big East Championship. The winner gets the trophy and the automatic bid, and the top-ranked Connecticut Huskies on top, trying to get to 30-0 and keep their unblemished record heading into the NCAA tournament. McMillan misses on the 3 attempt. Morgan, hers goes in and out. Kept alive again by Gaither.
Excuse me, Beth Morgan making a conscious effort to use her legs more on that shot. You could tell she really went lower to try to get more elevation on the shot.
Huskies will take their time now with 2:10 to play. Duran.
That just kills her. Gaither is right there for the rebound and couldn't quite get a handle on it, and then Amy Duran's there.
Kick called against the Irish.
The lineup, number 44, Sarah Northway, replacing
And a substitution, Amy Duran leaves. Sarah Northway is into the game. Duran with 8 points, including 2 3-pointers. Northway, the senior from Nisswa, Minnesota. And Chris Daly, the acting head coach, will run her record to 6-1 in her career.
Impressive.
And I know a lot of the Husky fans looking forward to having Gino Auriemma back, despite the terrific job that she has done with him away.
And let me tell you, Chris Daly isn't just a great coach, she was a great player as well at Rutgers University on the national championship team in 1982 for the AIAW, when the NCAA and the AIAW ran separate championships.
Playing for Teresa Brent, she had a great year with Illinois this season as Bowman hits the jumper.
Basket by Roseanne Bowman.
Bowman now with 11, her first bucket of the half. The Connecticut Huskies close now to their 4th consecutive Big East title as Kara Walters is fouled. And Mimi, you had touched upon the unbeatens that got through the regular season, and there's a look at them.
And the only one that is missing that I mentioned was that NAIA school, Oral Roberts, in 1983, but Texas in '86, as you can see, the national champs. The only team before Connecticut to have run the table and won a national championship.
How about that? Only 2 of the 5 did end up winning the title as Stacy Hansmeyer comes in. And who checks out?
Oh, Beth, they didn't get your cue.
I thought they were going to give it to me there.
No.
Carla Berube. As Walters misses the second. Berube, by the way, sits down with 21 points and a terrific performance for Carla. Morgan, the last one to touch it. There's Carla Berube. That's 9 for 13 in the game with 7 rebounds.
That's what makes this Connecticut team so effective and so tough to defend is all the attention goes to Kara Walters, Nikisha Sales, and then when that happens, Carla Berube steps up, or Amy Duran steps up, or Shea Ralph steps up. They are capable of producing big numbers in any one of the 5 positions on the floor.
Rita Williams took a shot to the face. Appears to be okay as she heads down to the other end of the floor, and now Walters leaves. Let's take a look.
And still not conceding anything, Notre Dame, with a minute to go and a 15-point deficit, doing their best to try to create some momentum.
Big girl with the big night. Walters, 20 points, 6 boards, 5 blocks. As McMillan hits on the first. There is the senior tandem. They have won the Big East Championship now in all 4 of their years at Storrs. Pretty amazing run. Of course, Missy Rose, also a member of that senior class. She's on the floor right now.
I'd say amazing is an understatement.
McMillan with the steal. And the lay-in.
Notre Dame basket by Sheila McMillan.
McMillan now with 10.
And it's an 11-point game, Beth, with 45 seconds to go.
Morgan doesn't get that one to drop. That would have been a big bucket. The pass from Rose intended for Tammy Arnold.
Boy, I'll tell you, credit Notre Dame, but with this kind of performance, they should get a very strong look at being one of the top 16 teams in the country. They started out like gangbusters, defeating 2 top 25 teams in NC State and Iowa earlier in the year, and really held on through injuries throughout the season to have an outstanding year.
Morgan kisses it off the glass. Beth Morgan with 30. A reminder, too, the closest anyone has gotten to Connecticut all year has been 11 points. UC Santa Barbara. Hansmeyer.
Basket by Stacy Hansmeyer from Sarah Brookway.
As the final seconds tick away for a Connecticut Big East Championship.
Basket by Molly Pyrick.
Beth Morgan fighting to the bitter end.
As you would expect from an outstanding senior.
And she will leave the game. And listen to the hand here from Morgan from this Connecticut crowd as she checks out.
That's what makes this Connecticut environment so unique in women's basketball. Not necessarily unique, but so inviting, is that they just embrace good basketball, not just for their team, but for the opponent as well.
Shot doesn't drop for Rose at the buzzer, but no matter. The Connecticut Huskies are the 1997 Big East champions with the 86-77 victory over the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Kara Walters, 20 points. Carla Berube, 21. And Beth Morgan with 30 to lead the way for Notre Dame, but it's the 4th in a row for the Connecticut Huskies as they take the title and go to 30-0 on the season. 4 years in a row now for that senior class, at least 30 wins. UConn takes the title for their associate head coach and the acting coach, Chris Daly. And an outstanding effort by the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, who dropped to 27-6, but could be a team to be reckoned with in the NCAA tournament. And now Mimi Griffin is standing by with a couple of the winners. Mimi?
Thanks, Beth. Chris Daly, this is your second Big East tournament, isn't it? Tell me, what did you see tonight going into the NCAA tournament now that you really liked?
About our team?
Yeah,
Well, most everything, I guess. I don't know. I thought we did a good job. Notre Dame's a good team, and we made plays when we had to.
Let's talk about this girl right here and stepping up. Sometimes a role player, sometimes a leading scorer. Tell me about Carla Baruti.
She's really the key to our success. I mean, she does so many things for us, and she's a hard matchup, and I knew she was going to play well tonight.
You've had to coach several games on your own without Gino around. What was the hardest part of that?
Having to call him afterward and talk to him about the game, I guess. We just miss him a lot. We spoke to him before the game today, and this is his victory too.
Carla, Carrie, how does it feel? Another Big East tournament, another Big East championship under your belts.
I don't think we could have asked for anything better than this in our 4 years in the Big East, the regular season and the tournament. I think we're really all excited, the seniors are.
Well, congratulations to each of you. It has been an outstanding 4 years, unprecedented, and good luck in the NCAAs.
Thank you.
Beth, it's all yours.
Thanks a lot, Mimi. 86-77, Connecticut a winner over Notre Dame to take the Big East championship as the Huskies go to 30-0. Coming up next, ESPN News will be coming your way. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Once again, our final score, UConn 86, Notre Dame 77. For Mimi Griffin, this is Beth Moen saying so long from Stores.